Hi everyone, I am here with a video about the tarot card of the year for 2021. So if you are looking to find out your personal tarot card for the year, I'm going to be posting that next week. What this is I'm showing what the collective tarot card is for the year of 2021. So how you find the collective tarot card for the year is you basically add up the digits of the year, and if it is 22 or lower, you don't reduce it, but if it's 23 or higher, you do. So, for example, 2020, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 equals 4. So what is the number 4 card in tarot? It is the Emperor. So last year was the Emperor. And then, if you go back further, 2019, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 equals 12. So that was a Hanged Man year. 2021, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1 equals 5. It is a Hierophant year. So last year was the Emperor, was the card for the year. So the Emperor is ruled by the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars. And so this was a year, Mars rules things like action, but it's also about war and fire and trouble. And we certainly started out the year with, there was all the fires in Australia. I know it feels like that was a lifetime ago, but it really was a year ago. There were a lot of fires in California. The fire energy was very, very strong during this year. There was also a lot of angry rhetoric, which again, in conflict this year, which is again a very Mars type energy. The Emperor too tends to be years where there's very strong, very dominant leadership, that for good or for ill. There tends to be a lot of rules and restrictions. It's all about order. It's about policing. It's about the military. All of those kind of things. Now, years can be good in that they can be years where things feel like they're more in control or they're more stable sometimes, depending on what the astrology is. Other times, it's like the negative side of the Emperor where, there's too much control, or there's the abuse of power, or there's people who are trying to be, too dominant or trying to be dictators. So we really saw a lot of these energies come up last year. And I think we saw a lot of the negative side of it that, other Emperor years haven't had so much, because we have to take the astrology into account as well. But that was the archetype for last year, the Emperor. But now we're moving into a 5-year, which is a Hierophant year. Oh, got the wrong way around. There we go. That's the right way. So the Hierophant, is ruled by the sign of Taurus. And it is a slower moving sign. The Taurus, it's interesting that, Taurus rules, this particular year, because we have Uranus in the sign of Taurus all year. He'll be there for years till 2026. And we have Mars activating issues in that area for the first part of the year. So a lot of Taurus energy, which tends to be a little bit slower moving. The Hierophant's all about tradition. It's about order. It's about following the rules. And sometimes that can be good because tradition gives us comfort. We can learn from the people that have gone before us. It gives us a sense of our place in the world. We're following teachings. We're learning from the past, and that can all be really good things. But it can also be feeling stifled by that order, feeling stifled by the rules, feeling like we're forced to do, things the way they've been done before, and maybe those things don't work anymore. So I think a lot of these issues are really going to be what's coming up this year, and the astrology follows that as well, that there's really a conflict this year between the old ways and the new ways. There's conflicts between what the rules should be, issues around the collective good, because the Hierophant's also about the collective good. What's good for the bee is good. What's good for the beehive is good for the bee. That's the saying. And the Hierophant too is about learning from the past and learning from history. So it's really saying, let's learn from, similar things. And of course, it's never exactly the same, but similar events that have gone on in the past. What can we learn from this? How can we take the teachings of the past and instead of just rigidly applying them the same way as they were before, how can we make sure that they are applied in new ways that make sense for us today? because, you see the supplicants at the front, and you've got like this old sort of like Pope figure here coming up, which makes me think, I wonder if there's going to be issues around the church and religion this year with the Hierophant being here. Whereas the Emperor was about government and issues around government, this may be issues around religion this year. That may come up as themes. So also here we have the supplicants here who are really going to be the next generation. And so it's saying, what do we want to pass on? And what do we want to learn from the past and move forward? And what do we want to discard? So it's really about learning and moving forward and thinking what rules are important, what traditions are important to carry forward, and what can be let go and discarded. Sometimes you need to turn the Hierophant upside down and you need to rebel. You need to be like, no, I'm going to do things differently. And so that theme too is going to come up this year, because we have to look at both the right side up meaning and the upside down meaning of a card for the theme of the year. So the Hierophant's really saying like, hey, like what rules and traditions are important and apply, and what needs to be rebelled against, what no longer applies. How can we do things, in a better way and improve things? It's not about throwing everything away or discarding everything. It's about moving forward in a way that works, so that traditions work for everyone, and discarding the ones that don't anymore. So I am expecting, these kind of themes to come up this year, as we do have, like I said, a Hierophant year. This is, a more difficult card. A lot of people have a strong reaction to the Hierophant. I know it's not one of my favorite cards. Growing up, going to Catholic school and a strict Catholic environment, I certainly am not always a fan of the Hierophant. So I try to think of it not so much as church and religion, but to think of it as tradition and order and rules, because we do need some rules. If we don't have any rules, then it becomes chaos and anarchy. We do need some kind of rules to be able to function, as a society and function in the world. But if there are too many, it becomes stifling. So we're really questioning this year what the rules should be for everybody. And making the rules apply to everyone and not just a few people. All of those kind of things. So these are the issues I'm really seeing coming up for 2021, for a Hierophant year for the world. Now, like I said, next week I am going to do how to figure out your tarot card for the year, and a basic, go through of what that means for you for the year. I always like looking at that. For me this year, it's a sun year, so I'm hoping it'll be good. Last year was a moon year. But I'll be talking about all that next week. If you want to check out my Patreon, I have tarot scopes and astrology. I have Coven, and I have Witch School, which is going to be enrollment. It's going to be open for the month of January. You can check that out there. I also have a blog. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, all of those places. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think a Hierophant year means. Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. As always, peace and love and light.